T-minus 1 minute. T-minus 50 seconds. T-minus 40 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Rips the helmet off Rudolph's head and then eventually swings it and hits him in the head.
1, 2, 3, well you're not hardcore. But let you live hardcore. And the legend of the rich was way hardcore. Yeah!
What's up, everybody? What's up? Welcome to another edition of Hardcore Challenge Live, the official webcast of the Hardcore Challenge. And if you didn't know, that just happens to be the pinnacle of fantasy football competition. And if you're not playing in the Hardcore Challenge, are you really even playing fantasy football? Probably just playing with your fucking auntie, your uncle, your cousins, your friends around the water cooler at work. But do they really fucking know anything about football? Are they really high-level competition? Well, this is that kind of league. Welcome to another edition of Hardcore Challenge Live. This is Season 14 of the Hardcore Challenge, the pinnacle of fantasy football competition. I am your friendly Commish, and let's get into it. Tonight is Game of the Week. We're going to unveil our 2 Game of the Weeks. Usually we only do 1 Game of the Week, but it's Week 1, and I was looking across the landscape of Week 1, and we had to pick one from the AFC and the NFC. So, Game of the Weeks, we're going to break them down tonight. I want to touch on a couple things before that. Our draft was this weekend. Breece Hall was the number 1 overall off of the board in both the AFC draft and the NFC draft after the 5 rounds of keepers came off the board. So, Breece Hall was the man. First guy off the board in both. Mr. Irrelevant in the AFC was Brandon Bolden, selected by Emmett Who, and Mr. Relevant in the NFC was Mason Crosby, selected by the greatest show on paper. So there's the top, there's the bottom of our draft, and I did see a couple of the draft grades come out. I was picked at 9-5, and to a 47% chance to make the playoffs, and picked as a wild card. I did see Donkey Punches. Donkey Punch is picked to be dead last in the NFC. So that prediction of bringing up the cellar in the NFC may be right on point, man. Picked at dead ass last. Congratulations there, J-Dub. Congratulations. Having D-Hop and having D-Hop and Deshaun Watson as keepers definitely don't help your fucking fantasy team. That's for damn sure. And that's what I was counting on. Now, it's time. Let's get to the Game of the Weeks in Week 1.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
It's time
Is this not why you are here?
for the Hardcore Challenge Game of the Week. We're going to start over in the NFC. Game of the week, first game of the week, we're going to start over in the NFC as we got the Bandits versus Bucknuts. And as you see on the line graph here, this thing is projected to be super, super tight. 174 and some change to 175 and some change. This thing is picked to be literally within a point or two. Tom Brady against Joe Burrow. You got Cordarrelle Patterson and Derrick Henry for the Bandits going against Fournette and Mixon. These guys got some solid guys, man. This is looking to be a very high-scoring game, and you got to look historically at how these guys have fared out. Bucknuts just joined the league last year and had pretty decent success. Went 9-5, was a wild card team. Now, the Bandits have been one of the top teams in the NFC over the past several years. They just haven't had a ton of success in the postseason, but they did make it to the NFC Championship once, and they've just been kind of kicking around. But they are definitely one of the perennial powerhouses right now in the NFC, and they were 12-2 last season, the number 1 seed. So Willie has not been anything to scoff at here in the Hardcore Challenge over in the NFC. Now, Bucknuts stepped up. 9-5, 12-2, both were in the postseason last year, so this is a very interesting matchup and the beginning of a new rivalry over in the NFC Dirty South. Just looking across it, though, man, right now Bucknuts is projected to be the favorite by about a point to a point and a half, but I don't know, man. I'm picking Willie in this one. I think Bandits wins and continues their run. They've been hot over the past couple years, and I think that continues. But I am picking Bucknuts in the postseason in my predictions. I think Kyle's going to have a solid season, and we'll see how he does in season 2. Season 1 was very successful in the Hardcore Challenge. Let's see if he can build on that. But I am picking the Bandits to win it all in the NFC Game of the Week. Now let's jump over to our AFC Game of the Week. Also on the line graph is projected to be very, very tight. This is supposed to be almost as high a scoring a game as it is projected 169.96 to 170.34. Less than a half a point separating the projections right now. Knox Vegas Anarchy in answer to the Master. Both in the postseason last year, Knox Vegas Anarchy sent the Master home. Let's take a look. Answer to the Master, formerly Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, formerly I'm Thinking Arby's, our most storied, winningest owner, changed his name to Answer to the Master. But is he really? Over the past 5 years. Let's take a look, shall we? Kevin joined the league in 2017. When he joined the league, he won the championship in his very first year in the league. Since Kevin has joined the league, both Tom and Kevin have 2 playoff appearances. Both Tom and Kevin have 2 division titles. Kevin has 2 conference titles. Tom only has 1, and both have won a championship. Kevin has beaten Tom 6 out of 10 regular season times for a 6-4 record, and is 2-0 against Tom in the postseason, including postseason wins in 2020 and last year in 2021. That's an overall record of 8-4 for Kevin over Answer to the Master. So, are we really answering to the Master, or is the Master answering to Kevin now? We will have to wait and see. That makes this week 1 even more dicey. 12-2, Knox Vegas Anarchy, the defending AFC champion from last year. 9-5, Answer to the Master. Tom has not been near as successful since Kevin has entered his division. Is he? He's his nemesis. This is definitely a rivalry right here. This is definitely a rivalry. And Tom needs to win this game, wants to win this game. And let's take a look at it. You got Matt Ryan for Knox Vegas Anarchy. It's a little questionable what he's going to do with the Colts. You got Russell Wilson, who's also a little bit questionable for Answer to the Master with what he's going to do with the Donkeys. You got Nick Chubb and Taylor. Jonathan Taylor, one of the top fantasy running backs for Knox Vegas Anarchy. You got Williams and Akers. Brooks, Moore, Thomas, Jefferson. Thomas and Jefferson, 2 solid wide receivers over there. He's got Kelsey. You got Kelsey and Waller, 2 of the top 3 tight ends going against each other. I mean, you just look down the board, and both these guys are very, very stacked across the board. I would almost give the defensive edge to Tom in this, but the offensive edge to Kevin. I'm picking Kevin, Knox Vegas Anarchy, to win this one in week 1 of the AFC Game of the Week. I think he's going to pull it out. 12-2. I'm picking both the teams to win in week 1 that went 12-2 last year. So we'll see if it works out. The other two teams were 9-5 and both wildcard teams. So all the teams in our first two game of the weeks were postseason owners last year. We will see how it works out. But my picks are Knox Vegas Anarchy and the Bandits in the week 1 game of the weeks. Now, let's touch on some rule action, shall we? I will be posting this, and I will be pulling on everybody's leash and ringing your bells over the course of the next week. You have exactly a week to get your rosters legal. There are some of you that do not have a legal roster. Basically, it's hard to not have a legal roster with the guys that are active and playing because they won't allow you to put them in there. But on your bench, we have rules, ladies and gentlemen. We have rules, and they have been in place for quite some time. You are mandatorily have to have a defensive individual player or a team defense on your bench. There must be one spot defensively filled at all times. The second the ball goes in the air for week 1, you must have a defensive spot mandatory on your bench at all times. Once the league goes live, week 1, you have to maintain that the entire time. It is to keep the offensive pool what it is for waiver wires and not deplete it. There's 16 owners in each conference, so that's 16 more guys off of offensive top of waiver wires that will be pulled off and sitting on people's benches to fill those defensive spots. No. That's why we expanded the defensive side of the ball. You're supposed to use that extra bench spot for your defensive side of the ball, not to hoard offensive players. So if you do not have a defensive spot on your bench field, you currently have no legal roster, and by the first of the week, if you don't have that corrected after the Labor Day weekend, you will be hearing from us. You've got to maintain it all season long. The other rule, bench spots, reserve bench spots. Only two categories can go in your reserve bench spots. If they have IR, injured reserve, listed after their name, or if they are tagged with COVID. Those are it. Not PUP, not suspended, not any kind of injury whatsoever. IR and COVID. That is it. We added the extra spot to help with COVID. Hopefully this is the last year we got to fucking deal with it, and we can get rid of that spot and just go back to IR. That's all I would like it to be. But, because honestly, next year, I'm treating COVID like a motherfucking cold. If you get COVID, they're sick. They got the fucking flu for the game. So we're probably getting rid of that extra bench spot next year and just going back to IR. I almost got rid of it this year, but the shit's still kicking around. And now they got monkeypox and, the fucking flamingo flu's coming and who God knows what the fuck else. So we'll keep it around for a minute. But make sure your bench is legal. After the Labor Day weekend, I'm going to give everybody this weekend to tweak shit. But after next weekend, we're gonna be coming at you and letting you know, man, you got to get your shit legal, and we're gonna be checking you guys all every week. And there will be penalties, man. We don't know what it's gonna do. We're gonna drop you at the bottom of the waiver wire. We're gonna do something. Everybody knows the rules now. There should be no leniency. Okay? There's not. You should have legal rosters right now. Fix your shit. It's a rule. It's been a rule for years. That's the reason we expanded the defensive side of the ball. We expanded the bench to help it. So please fix that and make sure that you guys are legal. That is really it, man. The draft's over. We got game of the weeks. We're a week away from the kickoff of season 14 of the Hardcore Challenge. The pinnacle of fantasy football competition, man. Get your shit right. It's time to get ready for the season. Are you ready for the challenge in season 14? Good luck. Game on.